This video is about Daggerdale.
It acquired the nickname the Lordless Country in the early 1300s DR, not because it had no lord, but because orc and hobgoblin and bugbear raiding bands, prowling hungry predator monsters, and Zent raids were all so numerous that it might as well not have had a lord.
Embrace the magic.
Greetings, wizards. Today I actually want to start talking about the final scene of Daggerdale before we talk about the gameplay. And this is because after you defeat Rezlus, who was a cleric of Bane, you basically get this cutscene with Nezra, a priest of Cyric, who basically just outright says that her plans for the Zhentarim are to conquer Daggerdale in the name of Cyric.
The defeat of Rezlus has ensured that the Zhentarim of Cyric will ascend as the true rulers of Daggerdale.
Well, why is this relevant? Well, Cyric was imprisoned in 1390 DR, I believe, and Daggerdale took place in 1420 DR, so 30 years after. We had a very clear hint that the Cyric influence would grow, and we could have had an expansion involving Cyric. And here's the interesting part, because Baldur's Gate 3 also hinted at this in the epilogue, as Spell&Shield explains.
In the epilogue of Baldur's Gate 3, a dark sun and white sky, and an offer, or perhaps a warning.
I'll put a link to his video below. So yeah, let's talk about gameplay now. I did expect a much worse experience from all the mostly negative reviews on Steam. But having played as a rogue, I actually enjoyed some of the abilities, the fact that you get to dodge roll, and even though you're playing solo, you actually can find ways to flank with allies on the way, as well as backstab if you use your abilities. You can see me here pushing the guard onto a new area so that I will have someone to flank with. But to be fair, the game is fairly easy, so I didn't have to use this strat. And the abilities I liked is Compel the Craven, which basically fears the enemy or makes it move away, turning its back towards you. So that's a nice way to get sneak attack. You also get to blind, improve your crit chance. Overall, the damage output, as you would expect from a rogue, is very good from early to finish. So yeah, even though max level is 10 and there are only certain abilities that you want to keep using and that you can learn, you still have level progression where you can allocate stat points and learn new powers. But of course, combat is repetitive. There's a reason why it's mostly negative reviews on Steam, but I did have fun with Rogue. Also, the game is based on 4th edition rules, so even though I played very little of 4e, you do have the designated roles, like for example here artillery, which would be like the striker. You have the defender and the leader, and these are all roles that were assigned to classes in 4th edition. And you also have the minions, which are like these groups of very low health creatures, which was also a part of the 4e encounter philosophy, which is basically to face always packs of monsters. There aren't many boss fights in the game, after all. I did beat the game in like 7 hours, but the ones that appear are pretty cool. Like for example, when you injure Rezlus enough, a red dragon shows up and you have to find a way to get past it in order to strike down Rezlus. However, this is not as simple because you have to attack its claws, attack its head, and eventually it will buffet you with its wings, preventing you from striking him down. And then later, to my surprise, you're actually on top of the dragon like it's a God of War game, and you have to scale the dragon's back while evading the dragon breath before doing some quick time events to finish it off. So that was pretty epic, although it seems like all the creativity of the studio went towards the final minute of the game. Also, even though you don't see much of him until the end, Rezlus is a pretty badass priest of Bane. that kind of reminds you of someone else. It's a shame there was no voice acting in this game. He could have been a more memorable character, given his smug attitude. But I like how this game and Baldur's Gate 3 both have as the key villain a cleric devoted to Bane, and both want to establish reigns of tyranny, Gortash with Baldur's Gate and Rezlus with Daggerdale. So yeah, not much else to say about the game except that it wasn't as painful as I expected it to be. In fact, some parts of it I actually enjoyed. I think it needed a lot more polish, voice acting, build customization, especially for a D&D game, and it also needed a lot more variety in monsters, encounters, landscape. Basically needed more fleshing out. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Daggerdale? I also recently played D&D Dark Alliance and Sword Coast Legends. I have videos for those if you're interested. Yeah, that's it for today. Take care.
Thank you for watching, fellow wizard, and may magic be with you.